Question of the day is, discuss a lesson learned by a loss or a win. So let's discuss about the loss. I was supposed to actually do a funeral shoot. The reason I say I was supposed to is because it never actually happened. The planning of it was all wrong because I had not put any legality into it. No legal contracts sent to the client, making it not feasible to ask for any payback if that was required. Now at this case, this was a funeral shoot. I had met the people and they told me everything that was supposed to happen in that shoot, everything till the last bit was discussed and agreed upon. Now this was word of mouth, so I cannot fault them. I can only fault myself for not actually sending a contract and having it signed and indicated that if I had made any purchases or any rentals during that time, they should refund me if anything goes south. That was a problem on my end, and with this videography business, you learn from all that you do. Moving on, the next thing that happened was gear acquisition. When you go into a shoot, you have to decide, do I have the necessary gear to actually make this shoot happen? On my case, I was using the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 4K. Oh my god, that's a long word. And it requires a lot of battery power. So I had decided, let me rather rent a battery from a friend of mine. That will make my job easier so I don't have to recharge after every 20 minutes or so. So I decided to do the rental on the day of the shoot. And this funeral shoot was supposed to be a 3-day shoot. I got a message. Hello, hi, what's good? We won't be able to continue the shoot with you because we already found someone else. Problem with that is I had already done the rental and I was on my way headed to another rental to go pick up a lens that was going to help me in terms of photography. The problem here was that I had rented the battery. And also I had already called in for the lens rental company to rent that lens. So no charges were applied there, but for the battery wise, I had to pay the charges that were applied for the 3 days. Although he was a friend of mine, so he only reduced the charges to the 1 day that I had the battery system. This caused a problem in the company where we spent money instead of gaining money because we had done all the pre-production work and therefore lost money. The other thing I also lost was an opportunity in terms of networking. Now, if you go for those type of shoots, you will actually meet a lot of people and you will gain more networks. I love networking. It's a big part of my business and should be a big part of your business if you hope to become a videographer. The time I had used in pre-production was wasted. I wasted a whole day doing the whole pre-production phase in terms of getting the gear, getting the right people for the job. I made a lot of calls to make this happen. And when that just went south, that was very problematic for me because I had spent a whole day which I could have used that day for other projects that could have actually benefited the business. The last thing was the business esteem. Now I say it like this, it's because the morale of the whole team just dropped after they heard the news that, hey, we're canceling this and you have to pack your bags and go back to where you came from. So that was a big problem there because I had already told people like, hey man, I need you for photography. Hey dude, you'll be there in case we need any support as an assistant on the set. And all of that being cancelled on them, it just reduced their esteem that they had. We had to find a way to get that back up. So morale aspect always goes down, especially you as the main videographer. You have to find a way to deal with that type of thing. So businesses have to find ways in order to keep their mental health in check. I'm very happy to say that we took it and we continued to our next adventure. Well, our next adventure being the Van Hill shoot. Now this was a big win for us. It was actually a 3-day project as well. We had to document a whole section of cuisines getting sold from a Tanzanian high commission initiative. So basically what was going to happen here is a lot of different tellers were going to come with their food, clothes and perfume and sell to the general public. The pre-production for that project was intense in terms of getting the right people, getting the right gear and getting the right information. We had to do a lot of studying for that type of job to understand what was actually expected of us in terms of who to talk to. I speak Swahili fluently, made that easier, so I was able to communicate to most of the people very easily because Swahili is my native tongue. The next thing that we gained inside there was experience. Networking, as I love it so much. We were able to meet so many people. I met a cyclist who actually came from Paris and cycled all the way to Namibia. What a crazy guy, man. I'll try to put his link right here if I can find it, but very, very nice guy. Then I actually ended up meeting NBC, which is the TV station for Namibia, and they took an interest in us, and we had a chat and exchanged contact details. So things like that are always good. You never know who you will find at events, so always try networking. So networking is a big, big factor in terms of the film industry. The other thing that we learned was value. Value is a very big thing. The person or the client who you're working for is expecting some sort of return for their money. So know how to capitalize on that and give them the best experience possible. If this value is about how you look, be professional, dress professionally, that will make the client be happy about spending more money on you next time. So if they see you dressed up in flip-flops, dressed up in home attire, no one will take you seriously. And this will affect also your networking and obviously will affect in the end result. One thing I've learned is addressing people. Know who you're working with. In general, try to always dress professionally, even if it's just a small maternity shoot. Dress professional always. The other thing is we learned how to understand our audience, who we're giving this final products to. So we were giving the final product to the High Commission, so we had to realize, okay, our editing style should change in this way, our communication style should be only on emails. With high value clients like that, you have to make sure that everything till the last drop of the information is documented, because anything can change. Someone can say, hey, I don't remember us actually agreeing to this. Then you can just fall back to your emails and say, hey, this is what you emailed me last time. But if you just talk about it on the phone, nothing is really written and you have no proof. So we made sure that we had sorted out our legal affairs, we had sorted out our communication affairs, and make sure we knew all the times, especially in terms of the arrival of the High Commissioner himself and the arrival of the tellers as well, so that we can document the whole process so as they can have a seamless flow of a video. My next step is actually the profit that we made. So we found different ways in order to capitalize on this project. We were only gonna do photography. How about we add in some albums? We can actually make more with that in terms of printing and albums. So we actually decided to print them out, all the shots that we took that day. We selected a handful of 100 very high quality shots and selected them and added them into that album. They actually ended up asking for 2 albums, so that actually increased our profit margin. We also decided to make them 3 sets of different videos. One of just the High Commissioner himself speaking, and we actually decided to make a whole video reel of the whole experience of the bazaar or the event that actually happened. The last video was the full main video with everything all together. So they actually really enjoyed that, and we ended up maximizing our profit. All the people that I took there were well paid, and we ended up having some leftover money, and we used it for gear acquisition. So always know where you're spending your money before you actually get it. Other than that, thanks a lot for watching this video, and hopefully you learned 1 or 2 things about wins and losses. They happen in businesses, and you just have to take it and move on. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.